So this brand, which you may have never heard of, has grown from nothing to over $100 million a year in just a couple of years. Their direct competitor, Athletic Greens, has been around for about 10 years, but Gruns is about to lap them just by using this exact funnel, which I'm going to show you so that you can apply it to your brand and hopefully have similar growth, although it would be hard to do that because these guys are crushing. So let's break down this funnel. I have everything out here, then I have all the links for us so that we can go through it. Hopefully you will learn a couple of things. So Gruns, essentially they sell these gummies, and it's just like multivitamins, and it's essentially what Athletic Greens does in their powder, but just in gummy form with different branding. That's essentially what they are doing. So let's break down the funnel. So of course, first, what we are starting with is it all starts with the attention. It's going to be the meta ads. That's going to be their main form of ads right here. If we look on their account, you can go to meta ad library. You can see they have 1,200 different ads currently live. Not like this is how many ads they've done ever. These are the current ads. Like this is how often they're running. You can see how old these are and whatnot. You can go through and you can look at these ads. But essentially all they're doing is they're testing a bunch of different stuff and they're putting out a ton of different stuff. And most often what they're doing is they have UGC videos, which likely are what convert the best. These are typically what convert the best. But also if you notice when you scroll through and you go through some of this stuff, they also have a ton of static ads just like these. And so it's not always like what ad performs the best. Sometimes you do have to mix in all sorts of different ads that educate people over time. But also the nice thing about these static ads is they're really easy to execute on a wide scale. Whereas like UGC video stuff, it can be super expensive to get these influencers, organize them, and then put together everything. And it takes a while and it's expensive. Whereas static ads, especially with the help of AI, you can pump a ton of these out and test all sorts of different things super fast. You can see all the things that they're doing here. So they're running a ton of ads, spending a lot on ads to try to bring traffic to their website. So that's the main strategy for getting traffic. They run all these different ads and then they direct to these different landing pages. Now, a lot of different e-com brands, they're just sending people to one landing page or they're sending them to just like their homepage. Not these big brands, not the brands that are scaling fast. They're doing all sorts of different landing pages and funnels. So if we go into these ads, you can click on and see like actually where these are taking you. So if we go like here, we can click onto like this ad, for example, and this is where it directs us. First order green powders right here. So this is going to be specific to ads of like people who are coming from like AG1 and you can test this, but essentially the most common landing page that they're using, these are the most common ones. They have this main lander right here. And if you have this doc, it's a little bit blurry. And so I have the links here for you to click onto, but this is going to be their main landing page, which they're directing most people. It's a simple landing page, just looks like kind of like a home page. They have education, they have everything that you need right here. And then they have the product page right here. And so pretty standard sort of like landing pages. I'll go over like what their secret sauce is. But also what you'll notice here is they have all sorts of different listicles. So listicles are specific landing pages, which list out, it's essentially just a list article. So you can see they have different listicles based on different benefits of the product, which I've listed out here and linked out for you. You have a nutrition-based listicle, which is focused just on like nutrition, like 7 benefits of the nutrition side of things. Weight loss, so how people are using Gruns for weight loss. Then for kids, so this isn't a listicle actually. It's just a lander directed towards, hey, get your kids on Gruns. Then you have a protein-based listicle, like how this is good for like your protein. And then also you have fiber, so why you need fiber. And then they have another lander that's just on like their new product. And so they have all these different listicles. They're running ads to all these different pages, listicles, to kind of like see what performs the best, but also to just cast a wide net. So they'll have specific ads that are focused on different benefits. So if we go to like, let's go to weight loss. Here's an ad on weight loss, perfect way to support your nutritional needs on your weight loss journey. You'll click on this ad. Let's go into this specific weight loss journey listicle. And so these are pretty standard. It seems like listicles are their way of testing and also just a great way of educating people. But just to summarize, they're running the ads, all this traffic, so much traffic. They're getting hundreds of thousands, probably millions of impressions a month to these landing pages. And this is where the secret sauce comes in. They're pop-up forms. So if I go on private browser right here, type in one of these pages, every single one of these pages, if you wait a couple seconds, scroll down, you're going to get this pop-up form. So give it a second, boom. This is the pop-up form that they're running everywhere across their site. So this is what it says. You've got 52% off. Now, one thing I want to highlight right off the bat, most pop-up forms, well, actually, you know what? Let me just briefly summarize this. So this is their key to becoming profitable. Each page, they have an email and SMS pop-up form. Now, the problem with website conversion rates is they can be as low as 1 to 2% because there are all sorts of different brands selling this sort of stuff. People are clicking on ads 24/7. They'll go quickly check things out and then they'll leave, forget you ever existed. However, a good pop-up form can get the email and SMS of as high as 20% of your website traffic. So instead of getting 1 to 2% of people buy, now you can get literally 10 times to 20 times the amount of people at least get their email and SMS to educate them into a purchase. And so they understand that not everybody's going to buy on the spot right when they go to your website. They need education over time to eventually purchase. Now you can't just slap on a regular pop-up form because a regular pop-up form that you don't optimize and it's using old strategies, that's going to convert at like 3 to 4%. Whereas like a good pop-up form can convert 20%. That right there is like a 5x in the amount of people that you get just by optimizing your pop-up form. So these pop-up forms are very, very, very important to optimize and make sure that you have nailed. There are a couple things that they do to get as many people as possible. So you'll notice with this pop-up form, one like small thing that I want to point out because I'm a nerd with this sort of stuff is most pop-up forms have the X to X out in the top right corner. One thing that they do is they move the X to the top left corner because oftentimes when people look at a pop-up form, their thumb's already moving to the top right corner. What's interesting about them is they actually moved it on the left side, which I think is very interesting and I love. And a couple things that make this a very high converting pop-up. You'll notice it's not asking for the email. Nobody knows they're gonna have to enter their email. They just see this and they're like, oh shoot, they're gonna give me a custom tailored option. And then you've got 52% off. Holy cow, that is a very strong offer. And everybody's worried about discounting their brand. They're giving 52% off. Crazy. Even though it's just their regular price, but they're just saying it's a super high number than saying 52% off. If you're super aggressive, you can do this. So they say you've got, and so psychologically that works better than saying take 52% off, because saying you've got, it seems like you already have it. You don't want to lose it. So you fill out this question. So you've got 52% off to claim, share what problem you're trying to solve. So this seems custom to the customer and it's highlighting something specifically that they're looking for. So it's like, oh, this is custom to me. Awesome. And it's like, all I have to do is answer this question to get 52% off. Heck yeah, gut health. And then it's like, ooh, now you have to enter your email. So you get about 50% of people answer that first question, which is insane. About 50% of people. And with that, psychologically, this person has already committed. It's commitment bias. Once somebody starts doing something, they're much more likely to follow through. And so what they do now is they're like, I'm so close. Might as well enter my email. I want to claim this discount. So you've kind of got them. And then now you'll get like 20% opt-in rates. It'll be like 10 to 20% to enter the email right here when you do this sort of form and it's executed correctly. So you've got 50% out there. You're like, fine, whatever. And then to get them on the SMS, they say finish signing up. So it's like, you're not even done yet with text to activate it. So you're like, oh my gosh, I already given my email. You know what? I might as well enter my phone number. I'm gonna enter my phone number and not expose it. So once you click activate, then it says congrats, check your text. In the meantime, here's your big welcome offer. Don't close your browser. And so you can click this and then it's gonna go directly to this surprise landing page for the offer, which is after somebody signs up for the pop-up form, it goes right here for the 52% off. Exclusive deal for email and SMS subscribers only. So they make it feel super exclusive for the customer, which is awesome. And then that's where the secret sauce is. So they're getting like 20% of people right here to opt in with the email and SMS. So it's very, very key to spend time on this pop-up form. And if you're curious, the platform that they're using for their pop-up forms, Alia Learn, right here. I'm a partner here. So if you say Max sent you, use code Max, you get 20% off. But this is what all the big brands are using right now for their pop-up forms. They absolutely crush it. So that's their secret sauce. They're driving a ton of traffic and then they're getting the email and SMS. And then they're educating people into a purchase with the email and SMS. So let's break down exactly what they're doing. Upon someone entering their email and SMS in the pop-up form, they go crazy. They send 1 to 2 educational messages every single day across both channels. Why are they so aggressive? Why are they sending 2 emails every single day and then a text or 2 every single day? That is crazy. Some people reading this are like, oh my gosh, I'd unsubscribe. Well, when somebody first enters their information, they click on your ad, they enter your email and SMS. This is the warmest they will ever be. Every 10 minutes, they're getting colder and colder to where you wait a few days, they forget you existed. So what they would do is they would rather oversend and convert as many people as possible in this high converting window. They're putting all their eggs in one basket. They're just going crazy for it. They'd rather oversend and convert people in this high converting window rather than risk sending too little. The customer loses interest and then they end up going with a competitor. They see an Athletic Greens ad and then they buy from Athletic Greens. And so that's why they're sending at this frequency and they're sending so much. And so you can see this is what their welcome flow looks like. Email 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they have right here, they're just sending this in just a couple days. And then they have SMS welcome flow where they're sending these every single day. And I'll expose these. I'll break them down in a second. But then they also do daily email campaigns, which actually I think these are probably in the welcome flow. But I just wanted to do these just to be safe. And they also have SMS daily-ish campaigns. Then I also attach their abandonment flows. But as far as like their emails, like there's a difference between good emails and bad emails. And their emails are amazing. Also way better than Athletic Greens. And this is why they are outpacing them. So what makes these emails high converting? Well, they have massive buttons. Look at these buttons. They're literally almost the whole screen. You'd be so shocked how much this improves your click rates. They have buttons at the top of every email. Look at every single email. There's a button here, 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 here. It's all at the top of their emails. The reason they do this is because when somebody opens an email, they could, that's not everybody's going to scroll. If you put buttons too low in the email, then not everybody's going to see that button. When you put an email up or a button way up at the top of the email, then everybody who opens the email is going to see that first button. And so you're going to get much higher click rates. They have buttons throughout the email. So they don't just have this and then a button way down here. Some people will scroll only to this point. So they always have a button as well in the middle and then always at the bottom of their emails as well, which is what we want. They have strong educational graphics. You'll see all this stuff. They're not just doing big blocks of copy. People don't like reading big blocks of copy. And they also reminded the 52% off offer every email. I review over 10 different 7 to 9 figure brands every single week. And if you want an audit, there will be a link for you to book an audit with me to audit your strategy. But essentially a lot of brands, they'll have welcome emails, emails, but they won't tell people of the offer. So they'll have an email like this, but they won't talk about the offer. Then it's just a regular email. We need to remind these people every single day that you have this offer so that they convert. And so that's really what they want. And that's what they're doing with these emails. You can see infographics all the way. It's very eye-catching. This is what we want. We don't want boring. We want stuff like this. This is how they're kind of leveraging themselves against Athletic Greens, who are a little bit more boring. And then the SMS and the welcome flow. Let's go across their SMS welcome flow. So super educational heavy right here, talking about the discount, and then they'll mix in just like specific benefits. Gruns will support your gut anytime, anywhere. And then they do what's inside, how we compare versus others, and then how we fill these gaps, and then don't miss your chance. Offer valid today, only on your first purchase. And then you'll see also here the different us versus them, just continued education. And they're going to reuse a lot of these graphics. Pick a side, Gruns versus green powders, them versus Athletic Greens, and then mixing in testimonials and social proof right here. And now let's go to the SMS welcome flow. This is what they're sending. They have 5 emails in their SMS welcome flow. They send these once a day. So the first SMS, it's right off the bat. You're offered for up to 52% off. Do this. And then they just send like multiple messages at once. Welcome to the fam. We shared our contact card here. Give it a tap. They add some humor. Our founder's wife didn't save his number in her phone until they got married. Don't do that to us, please. Pretty funny. And then they have an infographic right here. All your gut ever needs. And then they have some education on the product. And then use your welcome code offer today. Use this code surprise to get 52% off. And then they have the button. So they send multiple things right off the bat. And then they're sending infographics every day. So they have a general one right off the bat. Why choose Gruns for your gut health? We support you anytime, anywhere. So some of the main benefits. And then just listing everything. This is probably just like as tight explanation that they could. And then a button right here. And then they do this us versus them, leading greens powder. So obviously they're talking about Athletic Greens. So why pay $12 a day for yucky, chalky, overpriced powders? It's exactly what Athletic Greens price is. And then you'll have in other different products, and that's what they have. And then they have an infographic here, educating even more, talking about the offer, and then doing some testimonials right here. Use code surprise. And so that's their SMS welcome flow. And then they'll just add you to their simple campaign list where they're sending email campaigns or SMS campaigns about every other day to every day. So they have a new product. So say hello to this. You'll notice that they have no images, whereas in the welcome flow, they have images. Why is this? Images are 3.5 times more expensive than just doing text. Same as emojis. These eat up the price that you pay on SMS. And so for their campaigns, they're just keeping it super simple. They're not doing all that. They're trying to save as much on costs that they can. And so you'll see this. They're always talking about that 52% off. So there's no actual urgency on the 52% off. It's always going to be on. Then they keep things super simple. It's not a long message because that's going to cost more. These are all just going to cost one SMS, which is going to be a fraction of a cent. And so that's what they do on the SMS daily campaigns. They target these AG1 users, clearly explain everything, and every message they send has some kind of offer. So don't be afraid to discount here and there. That's what will keep people engaged with your list. And so I also, just as a bonus, I added item to my cart, and because I was curious, like what's their abandoned cart flow? This is what their abandoned cart flow looks like. So right off the bat, they're saying, hey, use code surprise to get 52% off. And that's what their button says. It says, we noticed you checking us out. And then it has some education, and then it has an infographic right here. And then also social proof down at the bottom. Boom. Super simple, not going too crazy. And then I saw that email. I still didn't buy. They follow up a day later with, you forgot something, your cart is waiting for you. So now they're specifically saying, hey, you had this in your cart. Complete your order right here. You left this behind. They're showing me exactly what I left behind. And they're doing us versus them, education, and then benefits. So they go a little bit longer here. What would make this even better is if they had a button down here. We're going to want a button throughout the email, because if somebody scrolled to the bottom of here, then they're going to have to scroll all the way back up. You'd be surprised how much that increases churn. And then they have this last one. You left this behind, complete your order now and save big. You left this behind, complete your order. These are in your cart, so they have some fun copy, some education, and then some social proof. Then on SMS, they just send this. Hey, they add some humor in here. We believe in second chances, and your green gummies are feeling unbearably lonely. Kind of funny. Save your cart and snuck an extra 30% off just for you. Wow. Here's a link to your checkout, and then they make a super low barrier to entry. It'll take less than 15 seconds. So boom. And then if we go, you can actually go to milled.com and look at all of the campaigns that they're sending. You can see how often they're sending: July 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th. So they're sending a lot. You can see every single one of these. You can see all of their buttons is up to 52% off, most of them here. And you can see buttons way up at the top of every email, high converting, boom. You can literally look at all these. These are available on milled.com/gruns.co. So that is the funnel. So let's summarize what their funnel looks like. Also, email and SMS if you want anything like that. My team will build this all out for you. Wellcopy.net, book a call, I'll audit your strategy and everything. But in summary, they're running a crap ton of meta ads, 1,200 plus live, driving to these different landing pages with different benefits, testing different landing pages that are obviously high converting. They've probably tested this a ton. And on every single one of those pages, after a couple seconds, you're going to get this sign up form, which they have hyper optimized because they know the importance of getting the email and SMS, which is going to help you get more out of your ad spend. They have a hyper optimized pop-up form, and then they get aggressive, sending emails, SMS, educating on the offer and getting people to buy now, being super aggressive because they know right when somebody enters into your funnel, that's the warmest they will ever be. And that is their funnel. They get these people to subscribe because that's what this discount offers. That's like the other kind of like hidden thing. This offer is purely for when you subscribe. If you want to try it once, you can, but you lose on some of the offer. So they push people to subscribe. And then if you subscribe to the product, they're going to stop sending you emails and text messages because they want you to keep ordering, not be reminded of you not remind you that they exist so that you just keep getting it. You might forget. So that's really what they're doing. And they're pushing all these people to subscribe. So that is their whole funnel. That is what they've used to get to this point. And yeah, it's pretty crazy and impressive what they've been able to do. So hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, thank you for letting me nerd out on that. I'll see ya.